Um, yeah, so we're gonna share our stories. Our stories are a little bit long. We'll try to make them as short as possible, and also get a chance for people to ask questions. So I am an immigrant from Colombia. I was born in Colombia, and when I was 6 years old, my family, all of us had to flee kind of very suddenly because there was a group in the city that was, I don't know, just like trying to terrorize people. And in that time period in Colombia, a lot of people were getting kidnapped and to ask their families for ransom money. It was like a business to a lot of like rebel groups in the area. They would just kidnap a family member and then contact someone else in the family asking them for money. So we got a call from the neighbors saying, "Don't come home today. There are these men with guns standing in front of your house." At that time, most of my family, my aunts and my dad, my sister and I, like all of us lived at my grandfather's house. It was a large house. So my dad picked me up from school and they started calling everyone at work, and they told everyone, "Don't go home, let's meet at the airport." So we went straight to the airport, bought plane tickets, and came to the US. 12 of us got on a plane that day to Miami. And and I learned obviously with time that we were very lucky to have had that opportunity. Not, when families are attacked in other countries, they don't always have the resources to just go en masse to an airport and buy plane tickets. Plane tickets are $300 per person. And we were also lucky that we already had travel visas. Like we had, our visas to be able to travel had been approved. Sometimes people go years and years trying to apply for visas to be able to leave their country. So we were very, very blessed with that opportunity to be able to come. But arriving in the US, my dad had a friend who rented out homes, and he had one home that was available. It was a 2-bedroom house near Homestead. And so the 12 of us moved into that 2-bedroom house, and we lived there for the first 3 to 4 years that we were in this country. And nobody had papers. And so we knew we couldn't go back because of the threat of being killed. But then trying to establish a life here in the US was, starting from scratch. And basically taking whatever jobs people would be willing to offer you because you don't have a work permit, you don't have a driver's license. So a lot of sacrifices were made to just kind of do whatever we could to support the family in moving forward. My dad, my grandfather, my uncle started working in the orange groves. My aunts started working, cleaning hotels and taking care of retired people in their homes, or just little jobs like that. And everyone kind of would pool all of their resources every week. And my grandfather, as like the head of the household, would decide how all the money was going to be split up to pay the bills. And from the very beginning, I was told by my dad that everyone in the family is making a contribution, everyone is doing their part. And so he told me, your part is in making sure that you're a good student. You're going to be going to school, and you have to learn the language, and you have to work hard, and you have to try to be the best student you can possibly be. Because we're in the land of opportunity, and you can accomplish great things here, but only if you prove your worth. So you have to compete and work hard and push yourself like you've never pushed yourself before. And then if you do that, then the sky's the limit. Anything will be possible. So I did that. I tried to be the best student possible. When I got to my senior year of high school, I was valedictorian of my school. And but I started out the year that way, but then I started noticing that there were these issues because my friends started getting accepted to universities, and I was getting letters back saying, "Where's your visa? Where's your social security number? Where's your passport? Where's..." All of these documents I had never seen or heard of before. I had no idea how they related to me. And then, going to my dad and being like, "Oh, I need this for this university that wants me to go study there. They're even offering me money to go and take my classes there because of my high grades." And then my dad telling me, "Oh, actually, you don't have any of that." um, my family came to the U.S. and applied for political asylum, hoping, that with political asylum, the government would give them some protection from having to go back. But then September 11th happened. And when September 11th happened, a lot of the asylum cases started getting automatically denied because there was this growing fear of immigrants in the U.S. And so only 2 of my family members were able to see a judge before September 11th, and they were approved. That was my grandfather and one of my aunts. Everyone else, even though it was the same case with the same, evidence, same everything, everyone else was denied. So while I was in high school, my family had grown over the years. Some people got married, had kids. My cousins grew to be 7, 8, 9 years old in this country. But while I was in high school, the asylum cases started all being rejected. So in those 4 years that I was in high school, 18 of my family members got deported. Because with asylum cases, if you don't get approved, you automatically get an order of removal in the mail that says you have 30 days to leave or we'll take you out by force. So it was just a crazy time being in high school, feeling like I failed. Like I worked so hard, but I was still failing because I couldn't, go to college. I couldn't get the scholarships that I had fought so hard for. I was being told that I wasn't going to be allowed to work. My friends were getting their driver's licenses, and I couldn't even apply for one. So everything was kind of shutting down, and I felt like, I was told that this was going to be my contribution to the family, and so I failed. I failed myself. I failed my family. What am I supposed to say to my dad when I come out of high school as a valedictorian of the school and I can't go anywhere and I can't do anything with that? And so I got really depressed. My grades started dropping, and then, and depressed also because my family members were getting deported and I couldn't do anything to stop that from happening either. And so right after high school, I met an organizer, a youth organizer from the Florida Immigrant Coalition, who said, listen, I'm not an admissions counselor. I can't give you an admissions letter to a university. I'm not a financial aid advisor. I don't have money that you could use for your tuition. I'm also not a human resource manager. I don't have a job that I can give you. I'm not an immigration officer. I can't stop the deportations of the family members that you love, that that are being forced to leave. But I'm a community organizer, and as a community organizer, I believe that we can bring people in our communities that are being affected by the most severe injustices, and we can bring them together, and they can empower each other to create a change in society. And so, if you'll come with me, I want to introduce you to 15 other students who have lived the same experiences that you have. And so they understand your pain, they understand the anger that you have from living all of this injustice. And they're making 2 commitments. One, they're promising themselves that they're not going to give up on themselves because they've been growing up being told that they're criminals, being told that they don't belong here, that they need to go back to Mexico, even though most of them, in Miami are not even from Mexico. So yeah, motivating themselves so that they don't give up on their own potential, because these are incredible young people who have been spending their lives giving to their communities, trying to contribute, trying to fight for the same opportunities as everyone else, and they've been beaten down over and over and over again. So number one, we don't want them to give up on themselves because they're all very, very depressed. And number two, they're making a commitment to each other that we're going to work together, we're going to plan a strategy, and we're not going to give up until we win something. So that conversation changed my entire life because it introduced me to a world of people who wanted to fight for equality, who believed in justice, who believed in all of the things we were taught about the American dream, and we wanted that to be a reality for everyone. And so we started organizing in downtown Miami, a group called Students Working for Equal Rights. And little by little, we helped each other get into other colleges and universities and started founding new chapters. And now we have a Florida Immigrant Youth Network in about 20 or more different cities across the state of Florida. and in most of the major universities. So it's been an incredible honor for me. I feel like joining the movement, joining community organizers has over and over again saved my life. You know, from being a high school student that was completely depressed, feeling like I had no future, being told that I was a criminal just because I was trying to fight for an education, fight for a way to contribute back to my family, and being given a sense of hope and purpose. You know, that there is something beautiful I can create in this world, you know, that young people do have a voice, and that if they speak up, that they can inspire others and they can motivate others to do great things. So in 2009, it was one of like the lowest moments after getting involved, because we had heard about the DREAM Act. The DREAM Act was this bill first introduced in 2001, the only piece of legislation at the federal level that would give young people who were brought here as minors an opportunity to stay in the country if they had good moral conduct, and you know, they were working to go either into higher education or the military, came before they were 16, all of these different requirements. And so we were fighting to pass that bill, but it was introduced in 2001, and in 2009 it had already been 8 years that it hadn't been passed. And so a lot of our young people were losing hope, because it's like, we've been fighting for this for 8 years and it's not going anywhere. And so I went to a meeting in New York with other youth organizers there, and for some reason, I don't know, we were talking about the abolitionist movement, you know, when we were about how there was a community organizing effort to get rid of slavery in this country, and how the worst attacks and the worst laws and the people who were suffering the most were in the Deep South. And we were concerned about the young people in the immigrant rights movement who felt so isolated and so powerless in the South. And then they said, well, when will the immigrant rights movement have its own underground railroad? Some sort of way of putting allies together, putting the people who care about equality, who care about the legacy of immigrants fighting for opportunity in this country, and have those people help undocumented youth make it to DC so that they can share their personal stories with the senators and the congressmen and the White House officials who are making all of these decisions on our behalf. And I got really inspired by that conversation. And so when I came back to Florida, one of our youth had attempted suicide. And I had to go to the hospital to find him there. And we were like holding his hand at night, trying to just keep him holding on. And I realized, you know, we can't wait for someone else to come up with this. We always think, you know, the person who will make the difference, the person who will change things, is some like incredible person who's on TV and one day I'll meet them. And someday you realize, no, like I actually have to be that person. Like I have to get it started. So I decided to start walking. And I called my friends from the organization and I said, I'm gonna walk to Washington, DC, because I wanna go city by city from Miami all the way to DC, talking to people about who immigrants really are. Because Glenn Beck and Lou Dobbs and like all these people on TV are telling everyone that, you know, we're like full of disease and like bringing epidemics to the country, and that we're here to like kill everyone, and that we're all terrorists and all of this stuff. And every immigrant I've known has been someone that I loved, someone that taught me community values, that taught me about love and about compassion and about all of the ways that we can build up a community to be strong and to be sustainable. And so I wanted those stories to be heard. And I had a few friends, Gabby, Felipe, and Carlos, who decided to join me in that fight. We started the walk on January 1st, 2010. And it was a 4-month walk to DC. On the first day of the walk, we appeared in the New York Times and the Washington Post. And from that point forward, you know, there were 400 articles that were published in 4 months. We were on TV at least once a week. By the time we got to Virginia, there were 67,000 people around the country who were following us, sharing our articles, sending letters to Congress, about what was happening, demanding that immigrants be included in the decision-making process. Undocumented people needed to be a part of the decision-making table with these senators and congressmen who were deciding our future. So when we got to DC, we achieved that. All of a sudden, we had Harry Reid and Dick Durbin and members of the White House and Nancy Pelosi calling our cell phones saying, how can we get you to come be part of a strategy meeting with us, because we want to figure out how to fix the immigration system that is broken, that is causing so much injustice in this country. And so I got to meet President Obama. I was one. There were 15 people that were invited to be part of a meeting with the president in June of 2010, and I was chosen to go represent undocumented people and to represent young people who were all fighting for their dream. So it's been an incredible journey, and I feel like the reason why I'm here is because there were people in this community who believed in me, who believed that I had a voice, that I had something that I could contribute, and they gave me a microphone, or they gave me a stage, or they gave me a training, or they brought me into a room to meet others who had similar ideas, and we've been building a national infrastructure of young people, training them and giving them hope and motivating them, and it's because of that we were able to get deferred action this year. You know, we coordinated ways to put pressure in states across the country until we couldn't be ignored anymore. We walked across the country and we did sit-ins and we did all kinds of demonstrations to make sure that we were in the mainstream media, being heard every single day. So I don't see myself as any different from any other young person in this country who is, you know, trying to get to graduation day and make sure that his parents are still in the crowd and haven't been taken away by an immigration officer, you know, to be able to hug them and talk about like how proud they are and all of the things that you'll be able to do after high school. I'm just like any one of those kids. And I was just lucky that I had good people along the way who supported me and who connected me with